Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a good day. I am doing good my end. I'm about to go out for a run, but I thought I'd just touch base with you all first before doing that. Today, I'd like to talk to you about dealing with darkness, and the darkness in question is depression. Darkness, as we have um, discussed in previous sessions, is the absence of light. Um, One of the definitions that I found of depression is the state of feeling very unhappy and without hope for the future. And I just saw this on someone's website. It says depressive disorder is a mood disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Signs and symptoms of depression can range from hopelessness and fatigue to a loss of interest in life, physical pain, and even suicidal thoughts. Now, this video is not going to be dealing with the deeper aspects of depression. This is just going to be based on circumstantial and environmental factors, but I'll go into that in a bit more detail later on. So just start off with a story. Several years ago, because I went to law school, I finished training as a law student. Now in the UK, when you finish law school, the next step is to obtain a training contract for 2 years with a law firm. So I struggled with that. I looked and I looked, but there was none forthcoming. But eventually, I got a place as a paralegal in a law firm, and I was ecstatic because to me this was a step in the right direction. So I started working at this law firm, and I enjoyed it. However, a couple months into the role, I realized I wasn't as passionate about law as I thought I had been. In fact, I found the work quite boring, but I persisted because obviously it paid the bill, so I kept going at it. But eventually, I hit a rough spot, and I had to stop working with the firm. And because it wasn't a choice that I made for myself, it really just robbed me of my joy, and I was on the brink, I think, of depression because I felt lifeless, I felt hopeless, I felt like my life was over because this was everything that I had trained for. So it just felt like everything came crashing down. So that was my experience at the time. At the time, I didn't realize it, but it didn't feel nice. But it was the best gift that it was the best thing that could have happened to me because it showed me that law wasn't necessarily the place that I needed to be in. Law helped me to, in terms of my thinking, it helped me to know how to process thoughts. So we used to do things at uni like compare and contrast, evaluate, assess, all of these things during our essays, during essay writings. And so that helped me. It helped me to learn how to think, but it's not something that I would want to pursue for the future. But I didn't know that at the time, so I was grieving over this loss. So, um, what helped me as well during that time was I was volunteering. I started to volunteer with in the children's nursery, and eventually I just get lost in their play and lost in their world, and that helped draw me out of the sadness that I was experiencing. So depression can be caused by various things, and there are various types of depression. I'm not qualified to speak about those in any great depth. So there's postpartum depression, which can occur after a woman gives birth. There's clinical depression, there's manic depression. So there are various kinds, but I'm not qualified to speak on any of those. So what I'll be addressing is depression that can occur due to a circumstance. So if you lose a loved one, you lose a job, you lose a relationship, and you feel like that can lead you to depression. So I'm going to talk about the can lead you to depression. So that area just right there can lead you to depression. So when you feel like you're going into depression, what's its mission? What's depression's mission? It comes to steal your joy. It comes to kill your quality of life. It comes to destroy your relationships because whilst you're grieving the loss of whatever it is, if it's a person, if it's a job, you're not actually seeing what you have around you, and so that affects the relationships that you have. It affects your joy, it affects your quality of life, but you're not always aware of that at all. In fact, you're oblivious to what you actually have going for you. So how can you handle depression before it becomes full blown? I'm going to give you several tips in this area. Identify the situation that has led you to this present feeling of sadness. So if it's a job loss, identify it for what it is. If it's the loss of a loved one, identify what it is. So just pin it down, narrow it down. This is what is making me feel sad. It might be one thing, it might be a group of things. It might be something that's real, and it might be something that you've attached to what is real. So for myself, it was the job loss, but then I felt like my life is over. But was that actually true? It wasn't. But it was something that I told myself, which was incorrect. So by writing it down, you can see exactly what is real and what isn't. Yeah. Next is give yourself time to grieve. So the loss of a job might require time to grieve. I needed that time to grieve. I wasn't aware, but I needed that time to grieve that loss. Loss of a loved one, definitely you need time to grieve. Loss of a pet, you definitely need time to grieve. So allow yourself that time to grieve, and then decide that you're going to get back up. Now it sounds mechanical, but you just have to remember that life is not going to wait for you. So the seasons will keep changing. We're going to have autumn, winter. We're going to have spring. We're going to have summer. So regardless of whether you choose to get up or not, life is still going to move on. So eventually, you do have to get to that point whereby you decide, okay, I need to get back up. Once you've made that decision, you might find yourself fluctuating because obviously you're not a machine. So you might decide, okay, I'm going to get back up today, but then maybe like by noon, you remember what happened, and then you find yourself sliding back into that deep sadness. Once you observe that happening, remind yourself and say, you can speak out loud and say, no, remember, I did say I'm going to get back up. I'm going to let go. So remind yourself, and eventually, what you'll find is that those occurrences will get lesser and lesser. If you need to cry, go ahead and cry. That's okay, because if you're still grieving, you're still grieving, because you are human and you will have those emotions. But I think the bottom line is knowing that you've decided within yourself to get back up. During this time, avoid using words like, so during this time, watch your words, be very careful with your words. Avoid using words like, I am depressed, I am sad, I am unhappy. That may be your present reality, and you're not in denial if you don't use those words. But the reality is, if you have a phone call and you say to them, oh, how are you feeling? I'm depressed, I'm so sad, I'm so unhappy. Next day you speak to somebody else, oh, how are you doing? I'm so depressed, I'm so sad, I'm so unhappy. What you're doing, because your words have power, your words have life, you actually giving you're given those words more power to become even more real in your life, right? So it's not about going into denial, it's about creating a new reality with your words. So just like an artist creates a painting using their brush strokes and using different brush sizes, the paintbrush in question is your tongue. So you want to be very creative and be very intentional about the words that you use around this time. So use words of affirmation like, I am happy, I am content, I am satisfied, I am an overcomer, I am joyful. When you say those words, you speak those words, you might not necessarily feel like it, but it's not about how you feel, it's about what you want to see in your life. And you're trying to combat a feeling, which is the feeling of sadness. And the way to do that is to use your words as you speak the words that you want to see in your life. Eventually, if you take some action steps, you will begin to feel happy, you will begin to feel content, you'll begin to feel satisfied. Yeah. So be careful about what kind of words you use during this time. Some action points, like I said, use daily affirmations, and it's about consistency. It's not about one-off. So you have your list of affirmations and you say them consistently. Look in the mirror sometimes, or just when you're going about your daily business or you're by yourself, speak those words. I am happy, I am content, I am satisfied, I am whole. Words like that. So whatever it is, whatever you're combating within yourself, I am enough. So just use words like that and affirm yourself on a daily basis. What helped me was playing with children, because children, they're innocent, they don't have any cares, and being around children can help bring that joy back into your life. If you don't have any kids of your own, you might have kids in the family, or if you go to a church, you might have kids there. Interact with them. We're now in lockdown, so you might not be able to do that face to face, but give your parents a call, FaceTime them, video call them, whatever you need to do, interact with them, find out how their day went. They'll tell you lots of useless information. But what that does, because they're so carefree, that carefree it's transferable. Just like when you hang about a depressed person, or when you hang around a sad person or an angry person, it rubs off on you. Joy and laughter can also rub off on you as well. So hang around children, hang around happy people, like spend time with happy people, spend time with people who are positive in what they say and in their outlook to life. So when you're feeling sad or depressed, that's not the time to spend your time around people who are also sad and depressed, because you can't help each other. So what you want to do is be very careful about your environment and who you're interacting with at this time. Um, Also, what I find helps is service to others. If you know of somebody who is struggling financially, and you're in a position to help them, go ahead and do so. It might not be a large amount, whatever it is you can afford, help them out. If you know someone, if you like you go shopping, like my local Sainsbury's, there's a homeless person outside, help them out. Purchase a sandwich or something for them and a drink. Just that small act of kindness can do a lot for yourself. And these things I suggest are not things for you to just do on a one-off basis. Do it regularly. It's the consistency that matters. Call somebody who you know is going through a hard time, or give them a text and encourage them. What all of this does, what it does is that it takes the focus off yourself, and the more consistently you do it, eventually you'll find that you are being lifted, because your focus is no longer on yourself. You're thinking about how you can be of service to others, and it breaks your focus, so you're no longer focusing on this sad thing that happened, and the less you focus on it, the less sad it feels to yourself. So your sadness begins to lift, and in its place you start to see happy feelings. But when you see the gratefulness in somebody's face after you've helped them, or you hear the gratefulness in their words when you give them a call, and they're thanking you for like thinking of them and getting in touch, that takes your focus away from the issue that has happened, which obviously is very real. But then it helps you to focus on others, and the service that you give to others actually serves you. And that's just the way life is. But not everybody's always aware about this. It seems like the natural thing to focus on whatever it is that's caused you to be sad, but that's not the way you're going to get out of that sadness. Okay, so I just thought I'd share those tips with you. Please feel free to share this with whoever you think needs to hear it. Until next time, do stay positive and stay safe. Take it easy. Bye.